It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
And welcome back, everybody, to Party Chat Sports. We've got Cam Braun, Drew Nelson, and myself, Caleb Gill, here with us tonight. Dylan, being a good humanitarian this evening, it looks like he's making some food for one of his wife's friends. So he's not with us this evening, which is a shame.
Could have been said before.
Yeah, could have been, but we're not going to get into that. I think his reasoning for not being here is adequate enough, but I mean, he had a good game. We're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk about everything.
Cam said he can only miss for weddings.
Yeah, he's already
Cam
had
said.
it. He's already had it.
I mean,
Not valid.
I'd argue it could possibly be more valid than a wedding, truth be told. But we do have Week 10 of the NFL to discuss here tonight, and let's get right into it with an AFC North matchup between the Bengals and the Ravens. It wasn't just a one-score game. It was a one-point game that came down to a two-point conversion call. Ultimately didn't work. Bengals lose 35-34. And Joe Burrow is kind of getting into that like Drew Brees. When Drew Brees was at his height, the defense just isn't helping. I mean, how many games this year has the Bengals defense given up a crap ton of points? 37 points. 24 is a decent amount. They gave up 24 to the Panthers, 41 to the Ravens, 38 to the Commanders, 26. Like, he doesn't... Now, there's some games that Burrow's had where he didn't perform well, and the defense played all right. But when you score 34, 35 points, typically you're expected to win those games. And give credit to the Ravens. The Ravens are a wagon, it seems like, with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry.
QB1 in fantasy. Let's go.
And also, I mean, that's why you pay for running backs, right, Jerry Jones?
Low blow. Too soon.
It's never going to be too soon. Jamar Chase, whoever went up against Jamar Chase in fantasy this week, let me know if anybody listening, watching, went up against Jamar Chase in fantasy and still won your matchup, because I want to see how the hell you did that. Dude put up monster numbers. 11 catches, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. In one of my fantasy leagues, there's a bonus that he got as well for, like, I don't know if it was a 200-plus receiving yard game. There was an extra bonus on top of that. So, like, whoever went up against him got cooked. This was a fun game, though, I'd say, all around. Which these last two games between the Ravens and Bengals have been.
Too bad the Bengals suck.
Yep.
Tough.
Zach Taylor
Good riddance.
hit the unemployment line, sir. You need to be looking for a job.
Should be.
Not sure that you're going to get one. So, be ready to be an analyst. Some kind. Advisor. Assistant.
I think
Ravens might be a wagon. Another.
Gill already said that.
Well, I'm saying
he's just doubling down.
in the regular season they might be a wagon. We'll see how they do in the playoffs, because you are going to
3
need
MVPs
defense.
before three playoff wins. It's crazy.
That's wild.
Unless he gets a lot of them this year.
He already has more touchdowns than he had last year, which just goes to show you how fraudulent the MVP was last year.
Last year's MVP was fraudulent, but I also think Lamar is evolving.
He's legit this year.
He's legit. He's been better this year. Where his first MVP, he won that MVP because of his running ability. Last year, fraudulent. Dak should have won it. There's no arguments for me here, but he won it because the Ravens team was winning. this year he actually looks like an MVP quarterback, where he's throwing the ball with ease. He is making plays. He's not. He had 7 carries, but he could have had 14. Like in previous years, he would have had 14. He's just not. It's not a run first mentality for him anymore, and it doesn't have to be run first for Lamar because he does trust his arm. It's just.
And he is Derek.
Yeah, it takes a lot of pressure. It takes a lot of pressure off of having Derrick Henry back there. This is going to be a fun team to watch in the playoffs because with Derrick Henry, he might be the piece that helps them win playoff games. But still, the same concern I had about Derrick Henry a couple weeks ago still applies. Where I just worry the Miles, by the time we get to the playoffs, he's going to be worn down. Like, they've got to start getting Justice Hill involved a little bit more. Which I hate to say because I got Derek Van.
He hasn't shown signs yet, so I won't doubt him.
Dude, I've been told about Keaton Mitchell. I bought into the hype. Got him traded for him on fantasy last year. Where is this guy?
I think he's hurt. I think he last week
I
was
thought
his
he
first
was
week
supposed
healthy.
to come back.
I think last week was
he's
his
still
first
running
week
back
healthy.
3.
It's tough, honestly, for him. It stinks.
Sounds like it
Tough
really
for
stinks
you.
I was about to.
No,
really
last
sucked
year.
for you. Yeah, Keaton Mitchell didn't do much last year. I don't think
He went crazy like 1 or 2 games last year and then got hurt.
That sounds
Something like that.
Then I was told he was coming back and got injured immediately.
I don't know. This is
It's
going to.
tough.
The AFC race is kind of starting to take shape right now, where it looks like. I think the Ravens win that division. Dylan can drink his Steeler Kool-Aid all he wants. I think the Ravens do ultimately win that division. And the wild card, that last wild card spot probably comes down to the Bengals are probably still going to be in the mix. The Broncos are going to be in the mix, which sounds
AFC sucks.
AFC
Crazy.
sucks. It just
I
goes.
thought the AFC would be top heavy and not the NFC.
So you're looking at all right, the way it's looking today, Bills, Chiefs, Steelers, just because they played one less game than the Ravens, and then Texans are your division leaders. So that means your wild card teams will be Ravens, but I think that's going to be Steelers, Chargers, and then one of Bengals, Broncos, Colts. That's ugly, dude.
Give me the Broncos.
Cooking.
That
I think the Broncos probably will. Broncos will probably have an easier job getting into the playoffs.
Probably.
I mean, they're already 5-5 or something like that.
Yes.
5-5.
But the Bengals would be dangerous. I don't think anyone would want to play the Bengals.
No, if the Bengals get into the tournament, they're going to be a dangerous team. The Broncos, it's good for them. It's good for their confidence. Right now, I just don't think they're a playoff. They're not a playoff team in 2024. But if you get some receivers that can actually catch a damn ball, they might be a playoff team in 2025. Like, Bo Nix has been serviceable, which is kind of what you want it to be as a rookie. You don't want to be the reason you've lost all 5 of those games. Is he the reason they won all 5? Absolutely not. That defense has been playing really well, but he's been fine. I think he's been good enough with what is or really what isn't around him. All that to say, the Bengals at 4-6 right now still could make the playoffs, and if they get in, who wants to play them? Except for maybe the Chiefs or anybody that has a good offense because their defense sucks
Ravens.
ass. The Ravens. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season, though.
It is.
And these games have all been close. Or these 2.
Yeah, I mean, these games were like a play away
Yeah,
from being different.
The first one, the Ravens were down similar to this one, and then they made a comeback to win it at the end. I want to say the Ravens were down by 2 scores with 5 minutes left in that first game. The Ravens had to score 21 points in the fourth quarter on Thursday Night Football to get the win over the Bengals. All right. We going to move forward? Anybody else have anything else to add on Bengals Ravens?
Nope. Go ahead.
All right, let's head across the pond. We're not going to stay here very long, though, because, well, why should we? Panthers, Giants. Panthers, really good win for Bryce Young. Happy to see that. It's fun seeing quarterbacks that were thrown in his position win like that. 20-17 overtime win. It still doesn't mean anything. I still don't think Bryce Young is a future for the Panthers, but I still, I feel good for the guy. Yeah, I feel good for the kid. Like, good for him. The Giants, as long as Daniel Jones is your quarterback, you are not going to win games. Point blank. Who's going to argue with me on that? Not a single person. Not even Giants fans. That's it.
Suck.
Giants suck.
Both teams suck.
They do. It was a terrible thing that the NFL decided to do to the Germans over there. Like, what did they ever do to deserve that in recent memory?
It's a crazy statement.
I said in recent memory.
Fair enough.
Recent is relative.
It's true. Patriots, Bears. Patriots, speaking of which, 19-3 over the Bears. Bears had to fire their offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams hasn't looked good, but he's also been sacked. Can I speak?
Absolute shite.
Dude has
That's
been
what
sacked
Caleb Williams
15
is.
times in the last 2 games.
And part of it is his problem.
Yes, it is.
He's
There's
known
no
for
doubt
his
about
pocket
that.
mobility, and he has no pocket mobility. He got sacked 9 times. That's crazy.
That's on both him
Not
and
his
the offensive
mobility.
line.
It's he holds the ball too long.
Yep. Which, again, he's a rookie. That's going to happen. If you are going to start a rookie quarterback, you cannot count on him to be throwing the ball nearly as much as they've asked him to. He threw the ball 30 times against the Patriots. I believe it was 50 times in one game. Like, this is why I will always be in favor of benching rookie quarterbacks. Let's see. Damn it, you don't have a game, Mike.
What about Jane Daniels?
I mean, he's been fine.
RG3.
Good. That class was
Andrew
different.
Luck.
That entire class was different.
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott only got put. He wasn't supposed to
Kind of was
start.
bench.
It don't matter. He still started, so it's part of the stats.
And if you're just going to give me a few names, I mean, that's not the.
I just
They
gave you
are
3.
outliers. They
And
are
Drew gave you 1.
outliers. They are outliers.
There's 4.
Yeah, that's over a decade plus time frame that you just gave.
Cam Newton.
A decade plus time frame that you just gave me. That is 15, 16 years ago that Cam Newton started his first game. In recent memory, especially, you should not be starting rookie quarterbacks. Hardly ever. CJ Stroud is an exception.
There's 6.
Is he?
His rookie
6 in the
season
last
was
14 years. That's almost 50%.
not. Hold on. Do the math on how many quarterbacks played.
I'm not doing that math.
That's not
I'm just
50%,
saying.
brother.
If we're going for 1 a year, there you go. Almost 50%.
I just don't like
Not going
starting
for 1 a year though.
when
There's
there's
3 or 4 a year.
when there's 4 or 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round every year, and multiple quarterbacks start their rookie year. It's
Then
not
Lamar.
good. Lamar
No.
came in at the end of his rookie year. He didn't start. Like Josh Allen also didn't start. It was Nathan Peterman, I believe, that started. Because Tyrod
It's Tyrod Taylor.
Cleveland. Tyrod was in Cleveland that year.
When he got drafted?
Herbert. Herbert.
Herbert was a couple years later.
He didn't start either. Tyrod Taylor started.
Correct.
Yeah, but started most of the season.
Doesn't
You
count.
can't go. No, it doesn't count because they didn't start the season. You didn't name
really-
him the starter for the year, and that's really what sets them back. They need to learn on the bench. They need to understand the speed of the game because they don't. They get out there and they still think it's college. And when you're in college and you're Justin Herbert, that's at Oregon, or you're a Caleb Williams at USC. Like, it's just slower for you there. Then you get to the NFL
Oklahoma.
and you see these guys that are so freaking quick off the line and athletic. You need to be able to see that without destroying your confidence. And the best way to do that is to not play most of your rookie year or not be not be handed the starting job, especially be handed the starting job. I hate that shit. When you get drafted, it's like, well, I mean, we drafted him. Well, why wouldn't he be our starter? I hate that shit. I could go on and on. I feel like I've already ranted a little too long. I hate when rookies start as quarterback. I hate when quarterbacks start at rookies. Caleb Williams has not been good. He has also been put in a situation to fail. Multiple things are true at once. I say that a lot. Multiple things are true at once. Caleb Williams hasn't been good, but they gave him Shane Waldron as his offensive coordinator. And now his offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown, was the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers the year... What was that? A year or two ago?
I think it was last year.
It's like you should have fired Matt Eberflus last year, hired Jim Harbaugh, or you should have hired Cliff Kingsbury as your offensive coordinator. Because that's what they really want. That's what Caleb Williams and Cliff wanted. They wanted to be together post USC. Because they were together at USC. They wanted from listening to a couple different people talk about that situation. They wanted to be together again, but I mean, Eberflus was a sinking ship. Not many people want to attach themselves to that. Not a lot of smart people. So that's what you get.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson's probably your best bet. That'd be fun. Like, there's some people...
I don't know if Ben Johnson will want him now, but maybe at the time.
I think it'd be interesting. I think Ben Johnson could be sold on the idea of Caleb Williams, like trying to revive him, bring him back, or help him get to the hype that surrounded him heading into his rookie year and through that draft process. Plus, you have a defense that has players. So you're Ben Johnson. It's like, all right, I just need to find a leader for the defense and leave that alone. And then,
okay, but what about the O-line? The worst part of the problem.
I was getting to that. Like his problem. I think.
What are you talking about?
It is statistically an average O-line to above average. That was loud.
What's that per PFF?
Yeah, based on pass block win rate, run block win rate.
I would ask Tom how he felt about that O-line.
You can ask Tom about how he feels. I'm telling you what it is. Statistically.
The other Bears fan that I know,
we can check on that.
Every week says in one of my group chats how bad the Bears' offensive line is. And a lot of that probably does have to do with Caleb. That's weird for me to say my own name. A lot of that probably does have to do with that. But
and they are, in terms of rankings, they're one step below the Vikings.
No, they're not.
In pass block protection.
Okay,
ratings.
that's because we got some outliers in the middle.
Vikings are 15, Bears are 16. They're higher than the Lions, who else would be considered a good offensive line that they're above. The Chargers,
the Lions?
Cowboys, Steelers, Browns. They're 16, so they're average.
Okay.
my eyes tell me different, but you trust PFF stats? Or you trust PFF
Not from
rating?
PFF.
I thought you said it was.
No.
Oh.
It's a combination from PFF, ESPN, and I forget what the middle one is. SIS, whatever that is.
SI? Sports Illustrated?
Could be.
Anyways, Bears need to fix it.
Probably backwards, but read that backwards.
The Broncos have the best. Hello?
Broncos have the most expensive offensive line in the league. I bet you didn't know that.
And then there was the Packers, and then I said Cardinals. I don't know about that. It's interesting. It is.
Cardinals also have a good offensive line.
They have a good run game, that's for sure. Good for Drake May for getting a win, I guess. I'm cool with Drake May getting wins because it just means that they're more than likely not going to have a top 3 pick. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the Patriots sucking. but losing enough games to where you can't draft the best players. Put those
Fair
bitches
enough.
into purgatory. But the Bears, fucking gross. Freaking gross. Freaking gross. I didn't.
Well, yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, we're heading down south to Tampa. 49ers escape with a 23-20 win. CMC's back. I thought McCaffrey, I don't know what people would have expected from McCaffrey his first game. He did more on the ground, 6 catches for him. Only averaged 3 yards carrying the rock. They didn't really have a good run game, the 49ers.
Turns out the 49ers are not a powerhouse this year.
No.
Might not be.
It's crazy.
Ricky Purcell, though. Came
Yeah.
out firing in
He had
that
a good game. Yeah, he had a good
What'd you just say?
Purcell.
What'd you say, Cam?
I get it.
Oh.
I get it.
Right.
That's messed up, dude.
It's also funny.
I thought Purdy looked fine. I'm not going to say he was amazing, but I thought he looked... The biggest issue with the 49ers in this game was that they had a kicker that couldn't make a freaking kick.
Yeah.
Jake Moody's booty.
Big booty.
And then Baker, man.
Baker
He was...
made Nick Bosa his son.
He did.
That was crazy.
That last drive, in general, was...
Which also is
Phenomenal.
crazy because Nick still has some freaking grudge from Baker versus OSU
when he planted the...
back in the day.
Yeah?
Yeah. So it feels like he would have taken advantage of having him in that position, but he did not.
No.
He got Little Boyd.
Yeah, he made... He made...
On 4th down, I think it was. 4th down.
Maybe. It was a huge play. Like, he should have had the sack. It would have... The entire last series there would have been different. The Bucs now are just in a spot where, because they don't have other playmakers, like, you're trusting, or you're
Mike
asking...
Evans will come back, but still, it's I don't know. I don't think it's going to be good enough. There's a lot
No.
of teams competing for the NFC wild card, and all
Dude.
of them, a lot of them are better.
This is going to be the first year Mike Evans doesn't have 1,000 yards, isn't it?
Probably.
That sucks.
Once he gets a
Crazy.
crazy game. That's all that matters in these ones.
That's actually tragic. Damn. But without your top 2 playmakers, they're going to be a fun team. They're not going to be an easy out. I think with Baker and that defense, it's going to be tough for teams to beat the Buccaneers, but they're still going to lose a couple more games here down the stretch, and it's just not going to be enough. Like you said, like that NFC is crowded, and the Buccaneers are going to be, outside that crowd. They're going to be on the outside looking. Let's see, like if you're looking at the NFC playoff picture, like I'm just looking at standings. I'm not looking at the actual
All right.
picture right now.
I've got this pretty narrowed down. I really think the Cardinals are going to win the West.
I don't.
But
Their
they're
schedule.
already ahead of the Niners, and their schedule is easy.
Yep, that's the thing.
Relatively. They're okay, enough about the Cardinals. But let's just say Cardinals for now, they can be switched with 49ers, doesn't matter. Lions are winning the North. Sorry, Cam. The Commanders or Eagles are winning the East. Either way, it doesn't really matter. The Falcons are winning the South. And so that leaves you with let's just again, some of these winners can switch, but you're stuck with the 49ers, the Packers, the Vikings, the Eagles, all competing for wild card spots, not including maybe the Rams, the Bucks,
Maybe the Seahawks.
maybe the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's
pretty much it.
I mean, only 3 of them can
That's
get
a lot
in.
of teams.
Only 3 wild card teams, man.
Yeah.
It's the NFC.
I mean, even one, if you think about it, the 49ers, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Eagles, one of those teams is getting left out.
Yep. You almost
And those are all good teams.
and
Well,
like
3.5
Okay.
good teams.
Better watch yourself.
like usually the easiest path for you to make it to the playoffs is by winning your own division, but that's so much more important here in the NFC. Because if you don't win your division and you are the Eagles and the Commanders win that division, oh shit, you might have a winning record. You might have 10 wins and still not make the playoffs.
They still got to play each other twice, right?
The Eagles and the Commanders?
Yes.
Yes.
Once.
I feel like the Eagles are going to overpower them.
They do have each other twice because they've got each other on Thursday Night Football. That's going to air the night that this drops.
Nice.
That should be a good game. It's in Philly, though.
Very good game.
I'll,
Rest in peace, Red. Commanders.
Yeah, my early pick right now is going to be the Eagles against Commanders. Mostly it's in Philly, Thursday Night Football. That just favors the
I
Eagles.
guess I got to go Commanders to make up some ground. Pick'ems.
Pick'em's king over here, baby.
You're up like 9 games.
It's crazy. But yeah, somebody's getting left out. Somebody in the NFC North is getting left out because there's 3 potential teams in the NFC North. In the Lions, Vikings, Packers. One of those 2 teams, or one of those 3 is getting left out. At least one of those 3.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Packers.
I think it's going to be as well.
Because we got them at home, and Sam is comfortable at home.
Could be.
This NFC playoff race is going to be a lot of fun. Like the AFC playoff race is going to be just because like a team's going to make it at like 9-8, 8-9, or something like that. The NFC playoff race, like I said, there's going to be a 10-win team that doesn't make the playoffs in the NFC. Almost guaranteed it. I feel pretty comfortable about that take.
If the 49ers and the Packers don't make the playoffs and the Cowboys had a freaking... They also don't make it, man.
It's going to be the first time in like ever that those 3,
go ahead and
all 3 of those teams
shoot
can
me.
make the playoffs.
I know, but both of our freaking kryptonites are not in the playoffs, and we collapse the same year. We can't do it.
Talk about inevitable.
Talk about poverty.
We'll get to your poverty.
Anyways, you in a blizzard right now?
Who?
I was. Oreo brownie, man. It's a blizzard of the month. And that was
good.
delicious. Highly recommend it. Well, their Oreo one's good. Their brownie one's good. Their chocolate brownie. So when they combine the 2, it's like, all right, well, that just makes too much sense.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I would have been here. I would have been on a lot faster, too. If this chick...
Line was long.
The line wasn't long. There was one car in front of me. But this chick in a Honda SRV took forever at the line, dude. It's like she was ordering the entire place. What all are you getting from Dairy Queen? The burgers suck.
And make sure they were holding it upside down long enough.
She was stood at the... I saw her ordering. Like, whenever you can see, like, whenever somebody's, like, looking outside their car trying to order. I saw her ordering, and it felt like for 5 minutes she was sitting there. Like, what all could you be ordering? Again, their burgers suck. You just go there. The only food that's worth getting there at Dairy Queen is their chicken tenders and then the cheese curds. Everything else sucks, food-wise. But the chicken tenders
Couldn't
smack.
decide if she wanted an Oreo brownie or Oreo brownie.
She probably got all of them.
It was really hard.
Enough about Dairy Queen. Chiefs.
What game were we even on?
Ridiculous.
We're on to the Chiefs. The Voodoo Magic, what the hell they've got going on there in KC?
Now that's inevitable.
It might be 200 IQ also, because they attacked the same guy that's been getting blown up all year.
I saw that clip.
Saw that as well.
I don't know where Chris Jones was, but if he was on that side, you're not beating Chris Jones.
Well, they've got a good special teams coach. Or did. I'm sure. I think they still
A
do.
good coach in general. I mean, all
They've got a lot of good coaches on that staff. I wanted the Broncos to win this. I did.
I think we all did.
Yep. I just want the Chiefs to lose, man.
I enjoy the Chiefs. I do not mind the Chiefs at all.
I don't mind the Chiefs. I just don't want... One, I'm allowed to be a hater because it reminds me so much of the Patriots dynasty. It's like PTSD. It's just not fair. But it is inevitable. The Chiefs are going to 3-peat. The NFL wants it so bad. The gods want it so bad. It's like when Peyton Manning was going to retire after the 50th Super Bowl. Like, it was going to happen, no matter if we wanted it to happen or not. And the Chiefs are being led by their defense. That's a crazy thing. Like, Mahomes isn't even playing that well. Travis Kelce, where the hell is he half the time? Outside of
pretty
it.
good the last few weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago he had to hit like a 90-yard game. This last week, he had a couple big plays, but
I just know he's been doing good in fantasy in the leagues that I have him.
Kareem Hunt, my dude, has been kicking it for the last couple weeks.
Bad Pacheco's coming back.
Nope, no, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. My boy's staying back there. He didn't get a touchdown this week, though. That's kind of sad. D-Hop, 4 catches for him. But again, the Broncos defense is good. So, got to give some flowers to the Broncos for keeping this game competitive, not losing it until... you thought you had a chip shot field goal. I think the other issue, too, is that they probably should have kicked that in the middle or the left hash, and they decided to down it on the right hash. There was something there, too, where they didn't kick it on... If they would have picked another side, chances are... Granted, you never know. You never know what happened there. Bo Nix looked serviceable in this game. Like, 22 for 30, 215, 2 tutties.
As a rookie?
In Kansas
We'll
City?
take that.
In Kansas City? Yeah. I'd take that. Absolutely. But yeah, Chiefs
Dylan wants to turn him into a wide receiver.
because of one catch.
Well,
Dylan hates Bo Nix so much.
Did he not watch
I
it?
don't know why.
No, it was Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Speaking of Josh Allen, Bills, Colts. Joe Flacco is heading back to the bench after this game, losing 30-20 to the team that's probably going to give the Chiefs a run for their money, more so than any other team in the AFC. They're another wagon right now. I don't know. Granted, the interceptions, what was it? Like, it felt like 5 minutes of interception on red zone. Like, every other, within a 5-minute span is what it felt like at the time. It's like, oh, we're going back to the Bills game, and there's an interception, and we're going back. Joe Flacco picked off. Flacco had
A lot
3.
of interceptions this week.
That was
Yes.
a lot of interceptions.
Tell me about it.
Flacco with 3, Allen with 2.
I think Josh Allen's one of the only people that can contest Lamar at this current point for MVP.
I think I said was it last week that Josh Allen's case for MVP, I probably didn't use this word for word, but his case for MVP I think is stronger just simply because of what most valuable player actually means. Like,
If only that's what we still based it on.
I know. I try basing it off of that, even though it usually doesn't work.
It's all going to come down to record. Last few weeks of the season. So
Who has
if
more
Lamar's got the better
touchdowns?
record, Lamar's getting it. If the Bills somehow get a better record, if the Chiefs go freaking undefeated, Mahomes is getting it no matter what.
The Bills have a better record right now. The Bills are 8-2. The Ravens are 7-3.
Yeah, I feel like that's not like projected though.
Probably not.
I think if you were to take a poll right now of who would finish with the better record,
Probably
I
the
think people
Ravens.
would probably pick the Ravens.
Oh. I don't know. I hate the Bills, man. There's always a freaking dynasty in my division. Or a goated quarterback. And it's never the Jets. Dan Marino. Tom Brady. Josh Allen. Anywho, Jim Kelly was in there for a minute.
He's good.
Anthony Richardson's going to be back in the starting lineup this week. I don't know why they're toying around with him like that. It's not... Whatever.
Flacco sucks, and you get no benefit of him playing. So
I think they know they're not making the playoffs, and there's no reason to. They need more
yeah,
weapons.
they had a chance because the record was decent, so they had to take a shot and see if maybe they could, squeak out some wins and get on a playoff pace. But they fell too far behind, so now just play your young guy and try to get him some experience.
Let him get reps, I guess. The young guy that got reps in this game wasn't able to win, losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-27. Russell Wilson, he's cooking. 3 touchdowns for him. George Pickens, I know Dylan's got some not safe for work feelings about that dude. How much do we really need to talk about this game?
Deep ball merchant.
It really is.
Just moonshot merchant.
The amount of times that Dylan has sent in the chat, Russ saved again. Just because he throws a beautiful moon ball. Where those rainbow passes, like they're dots. They're beautiful.
Yes.
But he relies too much on those. He's 14 of 28. Like he was 50% passing. And it felt like half of those were those moon balls. But ultimately, the Steelers get the win.
They're about to start playing some real teams.
Let's see who the Steelers got on deck. Oh,
They haven't played a single division game yet.
Yeah, they got to go into the gauntlet.
This is their gauntlet. This is where we'll really learn who the Steelers are. Like, they'll still make the playoffs just because, well, they've already won 7 games. So they'll fulfill the Tomlin prophecy, at least. But they've got the Ravens twice.
I think it's a lie if they
Browns
feel that
twice.
prophecy.
The Bengals twice. And then their only non-division game is the Eagles in Philly. Everything else, it's home against the Ravens, at the Browns. Oh, yeah, they have the Chiefs, too. I'm just like, I guess. Can't read. So they're home against the Ravens, at the Browns, at the Bengals, home against the Browns, at the Eagles, home against the Ravens. No, at the Ravens. Home against the Chiefs on Christmas Day. And then home against the Bengals. They probably go 3-3, 4-2 in their division. I could see them splitting with the Ravens. I could see them splitting with most of these teams.
Except the Browns.
Yeah. If they win 4 division games, it's because they beat the Browns twice. That's my prediction there. Which is going to be enough to get you in the playoffs. Like, you have a playoff spot.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could lose to both the Eagles and the Chiefs and still be good, as long as you go 4-2 in your division. And then, do you think the Commanders win the East, or do you think it's going to be Eagles?
Eagles. They
Find
sweep
out.
them.
We'll find out tonight.
Yeah. Well, we will. It's a good, how they play against the Eagles in Philly. If they lose a close game, I think they'll beat them the next game at home.
I think both teams have strengths, obviously, but both teams also have some pretty large weaknesses. Both probably on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, both defenses are susceptible. They're probably league average at best. The Commanders, especially at the beginning of the season, their defense was terrible. It's still not very good.
But it's getting better.
And the Eagles, they destroyed the Cowboys. Okay, that's fine. There was a bit of time where it was actually like pretty close. They were just playing with their food, I guess. But I'm not convinced that either one of these teams is like miles better than the other, or even any other team in the league. But I probably would put my money on the Eagles. think the Commanders obviously are still young and a new team. They probably lose tonight to the Eagles. I think we should put the Eagles in first by, I don't know what their records are right now. Eagles might be in first already.
Eagles are in first. They're 7-2. Commanders are 7-3. So the Commanders still have a bye. Eagles have already picked theirs. We'll see. I mean,
So I think the Eagles probably win, but win the division. But we'll see.
I think it might come down to schedule. Because, like, the Commanders have the Cowboys again. They have the Titans, the Saints. Actually, they have the Cowboys twice.
Yep.
And then the Titans and Saints. Those are winnable games for the Commanders.
So that's 4 winnable games.
Probably split with I think they split with the Eagles. And then
They've always played the Eagles hard, even with Heineke.
right. Yeah, I mean that.
For whatever reason.
And then that Falcons Commanders game is probably a 50-50 coin flip as of today. They'll make the playoffs. I think
5
the Commanders.
games.
I think the Commanders make the playoffs.
So if they win 5 games, what is that? 12 wins. At least 11 because they're beating the Cowboys twice and the Titans and probably the Saints.
So yeah, with 11 or 12 wins, I think the Commanders make the playoffs. It's just, are they hosting a playoff game or are they on the road as a wild card? That first week. Cam,
What?
floor is yours. Vikings 12-7 over the Jaguars.
All right, listen up. This was not a pretty game. Sam Darnold CTE game. We survived it. We're beating allegations this year.
I think every game from now on will be.
I like.
CTE.
They're all CTE games for Sam
I like
Darnold.
how the defense is playing. I really do. We're shutting teams down when we need to most. Only let up 1 touchdown in the last 2 weeks, so that's pretty big. I don't mind. I like this team. I'm gonna say it right now. I wish we had J.J. McCarthy in year 3 on this team. I think he's going to be a baller, and I can't wait for his recovery.
So you want a
shout
veteran
out-
J.J. McCarthy? Is that what that
Correct. Yeah, year 3.
Okay.
If year 3 makes you a vet.
I mean,
I
kind
think,
of.
it, I
Hey,
think,
shout
I think
out-
year 2 makes you a vet.
Shout out to the new kicker. I know his first name is Parker. First NFL game.
I know his
You make 4 field goals. You go 4 for 4. And you help a playoff team continue to try to get to the playoffs. Good for you, dude. Honestly, you can be our backup kicker any day of the week. I'm okay with you coming in and kicking field goals. Will the thrill get better, please? It was an ugly game. Sam Darnold never really picked it up. It really felt like he was forcing a lot more than he should have.
That's what she said.
You look at his throws. One, I am going to put on JJ because I think Sam thought he was coming back and JJ kept going to the left or wherever he was going. And instead of coming down to the ball, it allowed the corner to come get it. But just ugly game, but got the win. That's all. We'll take it.
Frauds.
Jags suck.
Mac Jones sucks. That's my takeaway. You only scored 12 points against Mac Jones. CTE, I mean, that's kind of like, it's more of a Molly. It's more of a Molly brain for Sam.
If you're saying that, we only allowed 7 points and got picked up Mac Jones off 3 times.
Twice. You picked him up twice.
Did he not have 3 interceptions?
No, he had 2.
2 and a fumble. That's my bad.
Sam Darnold had 3 interceptions.
Anyways,
Frauds.
still
Allegations are
not true.
been beat.
The
Allegations have been beat.
Jaguars have the worst defense in the AFC if you go by points allowed. So
And you still only scored 12.
Gill, you just scored 6 points. I don't need to hear nothing.
I don't give a shit. My team sucks. I know that.
Did we win the game? Are we
matter?
7-2 right now?
Doesn't fucking matter. frauds.
NFL is a week-to-week basis.
It's a week-to-week
It's
basis,
obvious.
but it's also shit adds up and builds.
Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions this week, so
Yeah?
I don't get what your point is.
And at no point in that game did I think the Lions were in trouble. Take that back. I probably did at one point, but
Yeah.
there was
Definitely
multiple
think
points
you
in
would.
this Vikings game where I'm like, they're going to lose. It's going to be funny.
And they didn't, so.
And
all
I
that
get
matters.
it's a week by week thing, but when trends don't change, then it's really not week by week. Like
We beat a healthy Texans team 34-7.
that was what, week 2, 3?
Week 3, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, lots changed since then.
Texans
The
suck.
Jets beat the Texans. Doesn't matter.
It's true.
Without Diggs, correct?
Doesn't matter.
And Nico. Does matter. Go ahead, next game.
I'm just here to ruffle some feathers. Saints. Coach clogs the shitter, then beats the Falcons.
Kirk sucks.
He got freaking paralyzed by his own player. See that?
Mm-mm.
Who?
One of their
Did
players
not.
came up behind. One of their players came up behind him and shoved him in the back, and he got messed up. It wasn't like a mean shove in the back. It was like a playful let's go shove, and literally got injured. And in the video, it like he can barely stand. He's like leaning against the player that pushed him, like trying to stay up.
It's tough.
And the video was just so weird. But they asked him about it, and apparently he's always had a problem with like his back, and he just got like a stinger, something. So he couldn't really feel his like whole arm, and having trouble balancing after that.
That's tough.
So yeah, it was weird. It was weird.
It's not a good look.
Bijan went off 20 carries, 116 yards, and 2 tutties. But Marcus Valdes-Scantling, where the hell has he been? I think they just picked him up, actually.
Yeah, he just got released from
Chiefs?
he was on the Bills after he was on the Chiefs.
He was on the
It was the
Bills.
other way around.
I don't know. Dude's been bouncing around.
He got released from somewhere. Now he's on the
Journeyman.
Saints.
3
Doing
catches.
exactly what MVS does. Just run straight and catch bombs.
Yep. Or at least try to.
That's the only thing Derek Carr can do. So
Yep.
Derek Carr either throws bombs or gets Olave killed. 2 choices.
All right. I don't have much to say on that game.
No, Saints won, but they still suck. Falcons are still going to win the division, but they're definitely not like
I wouldn't be
powerhouse by any
no.
means. They're just kind of.
I probably would be
Kinda there.
scared to play them in the playoffs. Like depending on who that matchup is against. I
That's
wouldn't
going
be
to be a home dub. Oh well, an away dub.
Depends. If it's the Vikings, then the Falcons are winning that. Kirk getting his he's gonna rub his what all over the Vikings as a final goodbye. Chargers, Titans, 27-17 win for the Chargers. They're not really splashy. Like I forget that they
They're
have
winning
as many
very
wins.
boring
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
It's a very Jim Harbaugh type of football that he's implemented. Like he has definitely established his brand there in LA right now, and it's working. Ultimately, it's working. Are they going to win the Super Bowl? Maybe not this year or next year, but it's how he got to a Super Bowl in San Francisco. You're not asking Herbert
They need
to do a lot.
some real receivers.
They do. They definitely do. Like Herbert
They
only
have a first-round draft pick in Quentin Johnson, I thought. Isn't he supposed to be
playing-
good?
he's playing
That's what I've
better.
been told.
he had
Playing better.
Yeah.
He's not the number one receiver on the team though. He'll be a good number 2.
Yeah, he's solid. He's fine. But Lad McConkey can't be your leading guy right now in the receiver room. Like, that's just not who he is. But it's a ground game that's really winning this for the Chargers. Gus Edwards, 10 carries, 55 yards. J.K. Dobbins, we all loved him here. 15 carries, 50 yards for him. That's what's winning the game, the ground and pound. They're 6-3 because they have been running the rock effectively. His brother...
Funny how Staley, the defensive coach, left, and then their defense got better.
Mm-hmm. The entire organizational, like, the culture definitely went through an entire change.
Also, I just want to make another Stanley connection that I just thought about. He went to the Niners, and their defense is worse.
Hmm.
It's trash.
Good point.
He was just a Aaron Donald merchant, I guess, in LA.
Yeah. Aaron Donald
He was with
and
the Rams.
Jalen Ramsey.
Yep. He really wasn't a good DC, now that we realize that. The Chargers are making the playoffs. They're going to be tough to beat in the playoffs. And because once you start getting colder, you win by running the rock. You win by having a good ground game. And then if Herbert only has to throw 18 times in the playoffs, they might be able
All
to...
the AFC teams have outdoor stadiums. It's kind of weird.
Except for the
Those
Chargers.
playoff teams.
Except for the Chargers.
Yeah, technically theirs isn't enclosed, and it's in California anyway, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Are there... Who would be the... How many... The Colts have an indoor, but they're not making the playoffs.
Just thinking playoff teams. Yeah.
Oh, you're just thinking playoff teams. They're just
The Texans.
Texans. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's it.
Titans suck.
So it's gonna be chilly. It's gonna be a chilly AFC playoffs.
How it always is. How it should be.
Agreed.
What you think about there, Drew?
About NFC. It's just gonna be the Lions, Cardinals, but it's gonna be warm whether they had a stadium or not, or a dome or not. If they get the home playoff game.
Whoever wins the NFC East, it's going to be cold.
Yep.
And then the Falcons will be indoors.
Vikings, if they host a playoff game somehow.
The 49ers, if they host a game, they'll be outside in California.
Yeah, but it'll be nice and not super warm, but not cold.
Titans, Will Levis, bum. Titans just suck in general.
They do. But Will Levis wasn't terrible.
I just think he sucks in general, but you're right. He wasn't terrible in this game in particular.
He's not being Will Levis that we saw for the first few weeks.
No, he actually has
Being
shown
just-
a brain cell or two.
Yeah.
Calvin
Maybe,
Ridley,
maybe he either stopped or started eating more mayonnaise. One of the two. He said a change.
I'm excited to see what the Chargers look like down the stretch. Like, I wonder if Herbert not throwing a lot now, if they're going to open him up as we get later into the year.
There's no one there to receive the ball, though.
It's the issue. That is an issue.
Did Harbaugh not do that in the playoffs last year?
No.
And the year before?
No.
Speaking of running the
Versus his
ball,
run game in the playoffs.
speaking of running the ball, the Cardinals, they have a really good ground game. Between Kyler Murray and James Conner, Conner is a beast. Was worried about him heading into this game
Why aren't you talking about the Jets, Gill?
because the transition. The transition was a ground game, and that's where the Cardinals are good at. And the Jets suck, dude. Been telling you guys this for weeks. Like, whoever was drinking the Kool-Aid after the Texans win, like, what the hell are you doing, man? Nothing's changed. It's an undisciplined team. This is probably the least likable Jets team since 2016 because the personalities just... It's a bunch of me guys that are only there for, like, trying to stat pads. It's not a bunch of team guys. There's hardly any team guys. The team comes
Big
out...
me, little team.
Exactly.
Still might have to pick the Jets this week, though.
We'll see. My concern with the Jets this week is that it's a mobile quarterback and the Jets defense doesn't know how to tackle. The tackling is only getting worse. It's been an issue. The defensive line is terrible, which I knew that was going to be a concern heading into this year. That killed us in this game. They're undisciplined. Like, you have an edge rusher and Michael Clemens, who shouldn't be on the field in general. He's starting. And he's done the same thing multiple times. In the Bills game, Josh Allen ran for a first down to seal the victory for the Bills against the Jets because Michael Clemens crashed down instead of containing. If you watch, at least, I think, both of Kyler's touchdowns, definitely the one where he ran to the left, Clemens crashed down, allowing Kyler to break outside. No contain, no discipline, because they're only going for the tackle. Like, it is a undisciplined team. Sauce regressing right now is not good. And then his mood, his attitude, his bickering with reporters on Twitter. Get off Twitter. And in the offseason, if I'm a general manager, if I'm the next general manager of the Jets, he's probably the first piece I'm looking at and considering trading. Because he's probably your biggest chip to trade.
Sauce is expiring.
And even some of it, like, I'm fine if he's not a great tackler. Because his thing is, like, he's never been a good tackler. He should have put some muscle on. But his coverage skills, he's getting exposed a little bit out there. And, like, for him, the standard is a little bit higher because he's been a back-to-back all-pro player. But there's a reason you're a back-to-back all-pro player, and there's a reason heading into the season people were discussing, should you be getting the highest paid contract for a corner in NFL history? I'd trade him before I'd even come close to that number for Sauce right now. The only players on the Jets that are worth really salvaging and keeping in 2025 and beyond are probably Garrett Wilson, Will McDonald, ironically enough, Jermaine Johnson, mostly because he got hurt, and Olu Fashanu. Everybody else, I couldn't give a damn. Breece Hall, maybe.
Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen, I mean, I'd be fine with
You got to keep the two backs.
Send him to the Cowboys if you don't want him. I'll take him.
It's not that I don't want him. It's just everybody else is expendable, I would say. Like, if you can get pieces back, I think the Jets need to completely blow this thing up. You tried it with Aaron Rodgers. It ultimately didn't work for many reasons. And the hindsight looker, like those that are the revisionist history on firing Saleh, yeah, it was probably a bad idea to fire him at the time because you should have still fired him much earlier than you did. Like the Jets
would be doing better if you kept Saleh.
I think, I don't know. They probably only have one more win because a lot of what I'm seeing still is the same stuff I saw with Saleh, where they had 10 days of rest and they still came in unprepared, not wanting to play, and that was a constant thing. Where if you give Saleh and the Jets extra rest, if it be at 10 days because of Thursday Night Football, if it be a bye week, they're not coming back with momentum and energy. They're coming back like they don't even want to be there. It's a soft-ass team. And Jeff Ulbrich right now is going to take the brunt of the heat because he was thrown into a spot that he wasn't prepared for. He's stretched himself out thin trying to be the head coach of the defensive coordinator. It's impacting the defense, but the defense just, again, it's not schematic. They don't want to be there. They don't want to tackle. It's one thing when you're in the wrong spot. It's another thing when you're simply not trying. And that's what's happening. And this team's given up. You can tell that. It's happened before under Saleh's regime. And these are all still Saleh's coaches, so it's still his guys. Offensively, like I said, the Aaron Rodgers experiment hasn't worked. I still think it was the right move at the time, given the options that were available and the spot the Jets were in. Like, it was him or Derek Carr. those were the Jets' options. You weren't drafting a quarterback because you had already drafted 2 quarterbacks within the last 5 years heading into that point in the top 3. You weren't drafting another first rounder. So those were your options. And ultimately didn't pan out. Now, you're going to have to restart with a new head coach, a new general manager. The owner is probably going to head back to London. So his brother's going to take control again. And last time that happened, Adam Gase was hired. So that's really exciting. But you do have to give it up for the Cardinals, who I do think make the playoffs. There is definitely a world, or 2 or 5, where the Cardinals win that division. Because Kyler's playing loose and free. Marv is not the number 1 guy, but when he's targeted, he had a couple nice catches. That Trey McBride, I remember Trey McBride. I was calling Toledo versus Colorado State when I was in college. I was calling that game, and heading into that one, I'm looking up, doing a little bit of prep work. And Trey McBride was popping. I'm like, man, this dude's really good. Watch some of his highlights. There's only so. I mean, I'm a college kid. There, it's not like I'm pulling film, right? But watching him, like, this dude's a stud. And then I watched him live, and he had a pass, pretty much like right from the booth. I'm looking down, heading from it would have been north to south on the field. And he just puts out a huge stiff arm. He just stiff arms the hell out of one of the Rockets. And keeps going like, this dude is, when he's going to make it to the NFL, and he's going to be good if he's given the right opportunity. And he really has. He's really flourished in Arizona. Like,
He's good.
He is so good. He is, I think he's got, it's either the most receiving yards or receptions for tight ends in the NFL, and he still doesn't even have a touchdown yet this year.
It's not a receiving touchdown.
Receiving touchdown, that's what it is.
He has a fumble recovery touchdown and a rushing touchdown.
That's what. I knew he still didn't have a receiving touchdown because, what was it, 2 weeks ago where Kyler overthrew him? Like, he was wide open on the back of the end zone.
That was last week.
Where Kyler sold on his first receiving touchdown of the year. But him, between Kyler, Trey McBride, and James Conner, that's a damn good trio. As of today, November 13th, as of this recording, that's a damn good trio. Because James Conner, you just give him the rock, he's going to run somebody over. If it be...
Don't they have Rondell Moore, too?
Nope.
I don't think
Hated him.
And then once Marv gets cooking, Marv had a touchdown in this game. So once he gets more involved, once he's cooking a little bit more, this is going to be a very fun Cardinals team down the stretch. And I think I definitely know I underestimated them. I thought they were going to be fraud, or maybe not frauds. I just didn't think they were going to be good. I thought they were going to finish last in the division, and now there's a realistic shot at them winning the entire division.
Yes. I think I'll tell you what it's been like on the radio here. What did I hear recently in the last few days? Kyler Murray MVP, which technically, when they looked, he was like 5th in odds.
It's not the craziest thing. As of today, it's not the craziest thing.
What else? They would be, again, they also have fans call in, so always take those with a grain of salt because you have the most
Cam Braun
blinders.
fans.
Yes, exactly. So disappointment if they don't win multiple playoff games. What else? Just some, obviously very hopeful about their team, and they should be.
They're
playing better than anyone expected.
They're 6-4.
Yep.
And I think Kyler's 3-0 since Scott's come out.
He is. There's one more thing I was going to say. What was I going to say? In the off season, right before the season started, one of the the prime time radio hosts who plays, kind of at the end of the workday, you get in your car, you're going home, and that's the radio show that's on. He predicted the Cardinals to win 11 games. And everyone was laughing at him, like calling him Homer, and he was like,
"You're all laughing at me.
No. He even called himself a homer. Like, he was like, what did I just do? But when he got done with it, but it's turning out to look possible, which is crazy.
Well, here's a card.
See what a little bit of faith does. Wow, it's crazy.
Because you gotta have faith. Oh, you gotta have faith. The Cardinals they're in Seattle. It looks like they're on a bye week this week, and then they go to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Vikings. Host Seattle. Host the Patriots. Go to Carolina. They go to LA to play the Rams, and then that last game of the year, I think I said this last week or 2 weeks ago, host the 49ers, and that game right there could be for the division. That 49ers-Cardinals game could be like an NFC West championship game.
They're winning at least 3 of those games.
You split with the Seahawks, the Patriots, Panthers. So yeah, at least 3 of those. Rams. How'd they do the last time they played the Rams? Oh, they killed 41-10. So we'll see how that Rams team looks. That Vikings game is going to be good. It's going to be competitive. Like it probably comes down to who has the ball last.
We'll see.
Like I think, like it's one of those like game-winning field goal type games I could see happening. Just because like they're kind of similar offensive, maybe not similar in terms of the way they're built, but they both have the ability to put up points if they need to, offensively. So yeah,
do we?
No.
I'm trying to throw you a bone, man. You're not going to
throw me a bone now.
You're not going to get.
You're an op. You're an op.
You're not going to get a lot of bones from me, buddy.
You're an op to the Vikings.
Take my bone whenever I give it to you, man.
I'm not getting.
Crazy.
I'm not taking any bone of yours.
Take his bone, man.
Take the
Trying
bone.
to give you a
Ain't
bone.
gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen.
He's trying to bone you.
I know somebody that'll
Crazy.
take.
Okay.
I know somebody that'll take this bone. Anyways,
Crazy.
yeah, the Cardinals. I really think the way it's looking right now, I kind of want to see that 49ers Cardinals game to be an NFC West championship game, and it's in Arizona.
They were kind of complaining about that being the last game of the season. Which I get what they're saying. Most of the time, those conference games at the end of the year, like most of the time, it ends up not being worth anything. And you're already playing so few conference games or division games
Yeah.
that you're basically like throwing one out the window.
Maybe.
But I think this one has the potential to be one of the few that actually means something. Like it could almost be a division championship game.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It could be a division championship game. And that's the difference between you hosting a team like the Eagles or the Commanders, who are going to have to travel across the country to play you in the wild card round, or you having to go on the road wild card weekend. Like that's what that comes down to. That's what's potentially on the line. When you look at how everything's unfolding right now, you would much rather host an NFC East wildcard team than you would travel to somewhere, like in Atlanta. Now, you could win in Atlanta, but still, you'd much rather have that home field advantage week 1. Speaking of the NFC East, you just rip the Band-Aid off, brother.
Don't speak of them.
34
Suck. We might not win another game the rest of the season.
Hey, is that little? I mean, you have a light on behind you. Is that a little too bright for you?
No, because actually, if we flip this around, you never believe this.
Wait, hold on.
Look how I've got these curtains here.
Holy shit!
Look how they're closed. I know it's dark outside,
Wait,
but and watch this. Hold on. Whoa.
That's crazy.
And then,
did you have to rebuild the entire? Did you have to tear down that apartment complex and rebuild it all from scratch just to
you could just
put in the curtains?
Just put it up. Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. New invention. I think they just came out with them.
No, I think you just came out with them. You made those.
But no, this has been dude, there's just we're at this point now where this always happens with the Cowboys, stupid stories. But now this is the only thing because we suck.
It's one
So-
thing when you're winning, because then the stupid stories
Yes.
don't matter. But when you're losing, it magnifies everything.
And the curtains have always been an issue. The players don't really come out and say anything about it most of the time, but CD did after the game because it is an issue.
It's right in his
And
face.
It's one thing to like say like, oh, Cowboys go out and get these custom curtains made and or build some kind of covers for the win. They already have them.
That's the other thing,
They're
too.
already there.
They use them for concerts.
They're already made.
They
They're
were,
custom fit. They will be on the windows when the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight happens on Friday. I believe it's in AT&T Stadium. The curtains will be up.
That's going to be so funny. That's going to be so funny. Everybody's saying, like, hey, look, they do have curtains.
Yeah, they're already there. They're in the stadium. He just refuses to put them up.
Well,
And
I
it's-
mean,
and-
you know where the sun's going to be when you
know where the sun's going to be.
You know where the sun's going to be.
Dude, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I've got so many things to say. I forgot what I was going to say next.
Take a breath.
Something about the
then
sun,
start
I
collecting
think,
your
maybe.
thoughts.
I don't remember. What was it?
While you're thinking of it, it's
yeah,
so
go ahead and say
difficult when you're staring right at the sun and a football is supposed to be coming right at you. Believe it or not, Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know how. It's not like you can see a football. It just looks like a black dot, and you could just think, "Oh, that could be like I don't know what the hell that is in the sun." You can tell.
And it's not
You
even
literally
like
can't
playing in normal sunlight.
No.
It's like, well, first of all, like every other stadium ever is built north-south, so you're not even looking in direct sunlight.
No, the sun
But
is.
the way it like comes through the windows gets like you're looking into a flashbang.
Yeah.
Every time they point the camera at it, you can't even see anything.
You can tell just on the field, like when half the field is lit up very bright and it's shine, like the sun glares right off the field. You can tell, like, dang, how the hell can anybody see down there? And it's
Yeah.
clear as day.
And
That touchdown, that pass that was thrown right behind CD, he wasn't even putting his hands up. He was still running because he didn't see it. How often does that happen?
Happens all the time. Every year, this conversation comes back up because something like that happens.
But it's just
Now,
magnified this year because Jerry Jones is something stupid. Like, what, you want me to rebuild
Yeah.
the entire stadium because the sun's there? No. When you flip the coin, you know
Ridiculous.
exactly where the sun's going to be. Like, you have to...
So, like, yes, it affects both teams. Yes.
But it affects your
But-
team how many times a year?
Exactly. Not every home game
Nine,
because
eight
it's
to
like
nine,
after
8 to 9 games a year. You play at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, but it's the games after daylight savings when the sun goes down a little bit earlier. But anyways, what was I gonna like? What it comes down to is my whole like support for dome stadiums is to take out any elemental like variability to your team. If you build your stadium, a dome stadium, how everyone else builds a dome stadium, then it comes down to if you can build a good roster, which, that's a whole nother story when we're talking about the Cowboys. But anyways, if you can build a good roster,
What do you mean?
your home games come down to who's better on the field. Not, oh, they slipped because the field's wet, or, oh, they're getting blinded by the sun, or it's cold, or any of this other stuff. But we're the only stadium that has a dome that still has environmental hazards for our own team. And yeah, it's a hazard for the other team, but the whole point of being a dome stadium is to reduce that kind of effect that you have from environmental hazards. And we're out here, and the curtains are already there. It's a problem. It's been a problem. And I don't want to spend too much more time on this because it's been a problem. It's not going to change, and it's not the reason we lost. But it has been a reason that we've lost previously. Not the reason, but a reason. And he comes out, he's talking on this freaking radio show because every owner has a radio show, right? But anyways, talking about how Kellen Moore knew where the sun was going to be.
Kelmore laughed. Did you see, like, they asked him.
Prove that to be incorrect.
They asked him, like, during his interviews, he's like, oh, was the sun a factor? Did you have that issue when you were in Dallas? And he's like, yeah, I mean, it changes how you have to call a game. Because it takes away. If the sun is in
he's
the
interviewing
middle.
for the head coach job.
He is. If you're If your strength is in the middle of the field and the sun is shining and glaring right in the middle of the field between the hashes, well, that takes away any sort of pass down the hashes. So now you only have out routes and streaks on the
and then
sideline.
the defense is like, hey, they haven't called a single play in the middle of the field. Let's put no one in the middle of the field and just cover the edges, cover the boundaries. So Jerry is just delusional to how like football and the NFL in general works, I think. So he's more worried about his ticket sales and the pretty pictures that the sunlight rays make coming through into the stadium. So
unfortunately,
as far as the team goes, they suck. Everyone sucks. Cooper Rush sucks. Trey Lance should be playing, even though he sucks anyways. He's still young, though. People forget that. He's like the same age as like Bo Nix and all these rookies that just came into the league.
That was the Sam Darnold thing forever. Was like, oh my God, did you know that Sam Darnold's still younger than this quarterback, this quarterback, this quarterback, and he's been in the league 3-4 years?
So,
has there been any talk about like them possibly playing Lance anytime soon? Or is it all just Cooper Rush?
Cooper Rush is the guy. I imagine it'll come to a point because Cooper Rush set a record for like most passes and only having 45 passing yards or something like that. So, yeah, I think you can only take so much of that before you have to just throw in Lance just for fun.
13 for 23, 45 yards. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, pretty good, huh?
I'd say so.
So, what else? Micah came back and was pretty good, and then another stupid story again. Dude, it's like I told you, just all stupid stories. He comes out after the game and he says, Mike McCarthy can leave either whenever and go wherever he wants. I don't really care. I care about Zach Martin. And, like, at first, that sounds pretty bad. But then if you use, like, 2 brain cells and, like, think about it, it's really not that bad. Like, everyone was out here blasting them on TV shows and radio shows.
I was hearing it.
How he was saying radio. Mike McCarthy should be fired or like he wasn't saying that because what he's saying is Mike McCarthy can go. He can coach as long as he wants. He can go. Maybe not be a head coach, but he can go be an analyst or coordinator, assistant, whatever, on another team. Like Zach Martin, he's done after this year.
Their careers,
his Hall of Fame career, and that's a real Hall of Fame career, Cam. Go ahead and take a look at that. His Hall of Fame career was wasted, and he doesn't get another chance. This is it.
Yeah.
And it was ruined. Like, there's a difference, and it sounded bad if you just take it at face value. But if you just relax for 2 seconds and think about it, like, it makes sense. You feel bad for the players because they don't. A lot of them don't get another chance. Well, coaches, you go on, you can coach somewhere else.
Well,
players, you're on a limited time.
Well, this is already Mike McCarthy's second chance. Like, this is his second head coaching opportunity.
Yeah.
And Belichick had 2. Like, the average NFL player's career average is 4 years. Most NFL players don't make it past a rookie contract. When you look at everybody that gets drafted, undrafted, like the average, that's going to college or high school. Like that's how long the average career is. And some of them go on to be players, but you're right. That's your career. Your career is, by the time your career's done, most people are starting families. And like getting to a point in their own personal careers where they start feeling comfortable. Like, that's crazy when you really think about it. With Zach Martin, man, he was, when he came in, it was what? Him, Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith. Like, that offensive line in general was so...
La'el Collins for a minute was pretty good when he was a guard.
Everybody wanted the Cowboys' offensive line.
Absolutely.
They were the best offensive line for a long time. And
everybody
Zach Martin's probably been the best guard until the last year or two.
Yeah.
I mean, he's that good.
And
he just joins a long list of either really good or Hall of Fame level caliber players that got ruined in the last 30 years of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I'm not saying all these are Hall of Fame players, but these are all really good players. Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith, DeMarcus Ware, although he won one with the Broncos, but not the Cowboys. Des Bryant. Maybe you include Zeke. Maybe you include Dak, Romo. Dak's not done. Technically, he's still got a chance. But Romo, Marco Murray.
Miles Austin was solid for a little bit.
Miles Austin was pretty good for a while. Who else? I mean, Terrell Owens was on the team. I wouldn't exactly say his career was affected by his time in the Cowboys, but he was on the team. The list goes on.
Jason Witten.
It's just Jason Witten. Yeah, exactly. It adds to the list of more disappointments so this team continues to do. So, and one last thing I want to finish up on. Almost every show now is talking about Deion and Shador to the Cowboys. If you say that on national television, you should be fired. You should actually be fired. Like, on the spot. They should not allow you to return. Because that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. One, you just paid your quarterback $60 million a year. You're not drafting a quarterback that high in the draft. Even if you do, he's not playing. Two, Deion Sanders has said, and it's recently as like today or yesterday, said he does not want to coach in the NFL. There's no benefit for him to coming and dealing with all this crap and dealing with grown men players. Like, there's no incentive. I mean, yeah, he got all the hype at Colorado. Coming to the Cowboys, yeah, it's going to be hyped, but he already got that, generating clicks and views and stuff at Colorado. Right. He doesn't need to come to the Cowboys to get that.
No.
So he's good. He said it. They played it on the radio today when I was driving home. He literally said he does not want to.
Yeah.
And so things change, but just like I've heard it and seen it said like 3 or 4 times in the last couple days, it blows my mind how like every time you talk about the Cowboys, you just disregard all facts and just say whatever comes to the top of your mind, whatever can generate the most clicks. That's what you say. And
there's a lot of that with the
Jets. I can't blame them because it puts the food on the table. If they didn't have the Cowboys, they'd only have the Lakers
it's a personal
and the Yankees
shot
to talk about.
NFL memes.
It really
NFL memes is a Commanders fan, so
yeah. Well, like I told you in the Twitter, like what I told you in the Twitter chat, Deion makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys just simply because Jerry needs a yes man. That's not going to push back on him. And Deion would
I don't know that is Deion, though.
I think Deion, because he doesn't have the NFL experience as a head coach, plus he's not going to want full power. Like, the other one that keeps being rumored is Bill Belichick. And like I said, I believe it was last week about Bill Belichick, it's not going to work with Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones is not going to want to give up power. So you're going to want, what's unfortunately for you going to happen more than likely is you're going to get a young, first-time head coach that has no idea what they're doing that's only going to say yes to Jerry. And is only going to get the job because they're not going to push back.
The problem is the only person that you're describing there is Kellen Moore.
Maybe.
Jerry likes people that he's had in the organization before. He doesn't like first-time head coaches, but if you're gonna go with a first-time head coach, go with one that you've had in the building before and know that's Kellen Moore. So, the future as far as coaching goes is not my most exciting outlook.
I hear you.
There's a lot of things they can do. Again, putting a lot of faith in Jerry Jones to actually do something correct. But if they do decide to do something correct for once, they can make a lot of space in cap to bring in players and draft players and do all this other stuff. Again, that's putting a lot of reliance on Jerry Jones to do something right, which we haven't seen. But the potential is there to build a good roster. But do I have faith that they will what will happen is either they will make a good coaching hire or they will build a good roster. One of those will happen, not both. So we'll see. But Cowboys suck this year. They'll probably suck forever because Jerry Jones sucks and Stephen Jones also sucks. My hope and prayer is that Steven cares about the team a little bit less than his dad, that he doesn't want to be the GM. That's my saving grace. Cope. That's my cope. My copium.
If it's not Ben Johnson, who's your dream head coach for next year? If it's not Ben Johnson?
Want to know my real dream is Sean McVay. My realistic hire is, in this order, Bill Belichick, Kellen Moore, Al Michaels.
Al Michaels?
Al Harris.
I was going to say, you're going to pull him from the...
Al Harris.
You're going to pull him
from the booth.
He's got a lot of experience, so might know some ball.
Al Harris.
Work for Gruden, I guess.
Al Harris.
Dude, could you imagine Gruden in Dallas?
I could. I could. I don't know that I want all that, but I could. I don't know how he would. I mean, Mark Davis is similar to Jerry. So I could see it, I suppose, but I'm good. I'll pass.
Does it got you feeling nicey?
It does not have me feeling nicey.
He's got me feeling
I would
nice.
rather Gruden just stay making his nicey videos.
I love that. More entertaining. I want him to be back on TV so bad. Or I want him to be back doing... Actually, I take that back. He's better off doing his own thing. Because if he's like an ESPN guy, then it's just not going to be the same. So I take back what I just said 5 seconds ago. Stay on TikTok. Keep everybody feeling nicey. Those are fantastic. Speaking of things that got me feeling nicey. The Detroit Lions, man. Besides, if you're not Cam, how could you not feel nicey about the Detroit Lions? Yes, Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. But I tell you what, that defense prevailed against the Texans. 26-23. The kicker, those are like... You could
that's as close as you can get without missing. You could fit
like this. Like, that's the space you had between the ball and the goalpost on those last 2 kicks. I think a lot of this, too, well, one, it shows you who the Lions are. Like, with that coach speak, like, oh, we're not going to give up. We're 60 minutes. That was a 60-minute game. When a coach says we play for 60 minutes, usually the players, once the chips are down like that, it's like, oh, game's over. I think that's what really has me feeling good about this Detroit Lions team, is that they didn't give up when everything was against them. Like, 5 interceptions, about 2 or 3 of them I would not necessarily put on Goff. He did throw them, but some, one's a Hail Mary attempt at the end of the game. One was
end of the half.
Yeah, end of the half, my bad. One was out of a sack. Or it was a weird one. Like, there was a couple that obviously were his fault. You throw 5, at least 1 or 2 are bound to be your fault. But just the way this team prevailed, really, I was really impressed with the defense in this game. And some of that is on the Texans. Because the Texans did not capitalize when they had opportunities. There were plenty of opportunities. And they were up 23-7 at halftime. They didn't score a single point in the second half. And yeah, I just said, the Lions defense impressed me. And it did. To not allow a single point in the second half, that's impressive. But also on the Texans' end, to not even put up a point in the second half, that's on you as a team. So it's kind of a...
Proud sophomore slump.
It is. He's going through something right now.
And it was a possibility.
It was going to happen at some point.
Season.
Usually you hit a rookie wall, and he just never hit the rookie wall, so now it's a sophomore slump.
Yes.
I think ultimately he's still going to be a good player in this league. It's just, I'm a big believer that you learn more from your failures than you do your success. And now he's learning from his failures. Or he's having more failures, so he's got a lot more to learn.
I mean, if you want to talk about a real bad offensive line, Texans do not have a good offensive line. They are bad.
They are. Laramie,
Their own right tackle stripped the ball from C.J. Stroud. That is nuts. That is nuts.
I was watching that live. Like, there's no way that actually happened. There's no way. Like,
Yeah.
is he trying to? I thought he was trying to keep him up. Like, and then
And maybe
even
he
that,
was,
even that is like, why the hell
just
are you doing that? Just let him fall down.
Yeah. He basically made the sack on that play by getting in Stroud's way and then stripped the ball from him. Like, it was nuts. Like, one of the worst plays I've ever watched. And, their offensive line is bad, which I think is affecting Stroud. Obviously, Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs getting hurt does not help. But even with those guys healthy, they were winning, but never in the fashion that you wanted them to.
Well, Cam, what was that score of the Vikings game with those guys?
Against the Texans?
Yeah.
34-7.
See, like, even then, they still weren't putting up a lot of numbers consistently with a healthy roster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that you're going up against a top 10 defense, so
I
they just got mollywopped.
I asked you one
Don't
question.
disrespect the
You didn't
defense.
have to expand on it. You proved my point with the 34-6 score. That's all you needed to say, brother. I'm just busting your balls. Still, all right, Cam. What do you Texans, Lions? What do you think of this? What are your thoughts?
I have nothing on the game because I went to bed. The Lions got lucky.
So you didn't watch the game, and yet you have an opinion on the Lions.
I watched the first half. But yes.
Did you see the field goals at least? Did you see how close those field goals were?
I did not.
Oh, brother, you got to watch those.
That's crazy.
You have to.
Haven't cared to watch it.
Dude,
to be honest.
If you love watching kicks, if you love watching field goals and special teams, it'll make you wiggle a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm concerned about the Texans. They win the division.
They're going to make the playoffs.
They're going to host a playoff game, and then they're going to get cooked in that playoff game. Probably. Well, I mean, maybe not, because who knows? Maybe they get a good
wild card team.
Maybe they get a if they are the last seed, if they're the 4th seed, so the
Steelers,
they'd get the Steelers or the Chargers, more than likely.
Do the Steelers and the Texans play?
No. Texas have the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, host the Titans. Oh, bye, Cam.
See you later, King.
Go to the Jaguars, host the Dolphins, go to the Chiefs, host the Ravens, and then they're in Tennessee.
I mean, they're whooping the Cowboys.
Yeah. I don't think there's any question on that.
That'll get them feeling nicey. Nico Collins should be coming back. They'll get some juice from that game. So put up 40. But they're not doing good. And the Lions are, if not the best team, probably top 2.
Who would be the Chiefs? All right.
I'm not considering the Chiefs for the best team. I'm considering the Ravens, the Lions. It's probably my top 2 right now.
If the Super Bowl today, on November 13th, was the Lions and the Chiefs, who do you got?
Chiefs.
Me too. They've been there.
The Chiefs weren't the best team last year.
No.
Regular season.
No.
They might not even been in the regular season best team before that, the year before that. But
no,
they
won the
definitely know
AFC.
how to win games.
They won the AFC 2 years ago. I mean,
they would have won the AFC.
I mean, they were the number 1 seed, I believe, or at least they hosted the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
So maybe the Ravens got
probably
booted
win the
out.
team.
Like maybe the Ravens were the 1 seed, but the Ravens got booted out before.
But either way, they've always
Still.
had an easier path because the AFC West sucks.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Chiefs are not the best team in the league. But as we've seen, when that comes to playoff time, it doesn't matter. So I like the Lions. I like the Ravens better from if we're making a power ranking standpoint. But if either of those teams meet the Chiefs in either the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game, I would have a hard time picking against the Chiefs.
I agree.
We'll see. I think the Lions are looking good to make the Super Bowl, though. I mean, we talked about the NFC being a little bit stronger than the AFC, but I don't see a team.
Who's stronger than the Lions in the NFC?
No one.
Like, who do you trust in the NFC to go toe to toe and beat the Lions?
I'm not even sure what the prototype kind of team you would need. I mean, do you need the best defense to combat their offense? Do you need a great offense to just trade blows? What is the archetype we're looking for to beat the Lions? I'm not sure that that's clear yet. And even if it was, I'm not sure what teams, could even, who is the best defense in the NFC that's going to make the playoffs? Probably not including the Lions, obviously. The 49ers are pretty good.
They're good, but they're not the same.
They're not like dominant.
You said earlier, they've digressed.
Eagles are average. Vikings are probably the best defense that could make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And as we saw there, the Lions already beat the Vikings. Mm-hmm. So I guess best defense is in the way to go. And who have they played so far? Like offensive wise,
Lions?
Maybe you can include the Texans. They played the Packers. They played Cowboys, which have the possibility to be an offensive team, but have not been this year.
They played the Seahawks, which the Seahawks, Geno is, or at least was up until about a week ago, the league leader in passing yards. They lost to the Bucks, the Rams, I believe. That was an overtime game.
I just don't see any other teams right now that have something that I would confidently say is good enough for them to compete with the Lions. Now, obviously, the Lions struggled early on with the Bucks and the Rams and close game with the Texans. They're not like some juggernaut, but they
know how to win.
They win games. They stay in it, and if they had 5 interceptions and still won.
Yeah,
they stick with it.
I think ultimately the only team that beats the Lions is the Lions.
Yeah,
they
injuries or they just
mistakes.
Goff probably is not getting away with 5 interceptions in the ball.
No,
that's not going to get it done.
No, if the Lions don't make it to the Super Bowl, it's because they did something to themselves, not because another team did something to them.
It will be a disappointment.
It would be
actually, and that's weird to say. The Lions not making the Super Bowl is a disappointing.
But that's the bar they've set.
But it actually will.
That's the bar they've set, which is a fantastic situation to be in as a fan. For a fan of a franchise like the Lions that has been so bad for so long, for now the expectation isn't playoffs or to be a winning team, is to be in the Super Bowl. And if the Lions don't make it to the Super Bowl, that's a disappointing season. And that's not even just fan flub, oh, well, it's disappointing for every team that doesn't make the Super Bowl or win it all. 31 teams are mad. No, an actual expectation is to make it to the Super Bowl. And if they don't, then they fail. That is crazy.
And not even just off-season expectation. Regular season, we're over halfway through the season, and that's the expectation.
The expectation has only grown as we move through the season. Heading into the season, it was, you still have the 49ers, you have the Cowboys, you have the Eagles. There's other teams that now they're kind of the lone wolf in the NFC. It's a loaded division, but at the top, they're kind of...
They're the top dog.
They're the top dog, and they don't have anybody else that's barking. No loud barks right now. Nobody else that can really legit be with them up there. That's crazy.
Yep.
All right, last game. I think we can get right through this. Lions' old quarterback Matthew Stafford lost 15-23 to the Miami Dolphins. Tua still leading with your head when you tackle, man. Tua
Saw that.
Tyreek out of the end zone for the first time since week 1. The Rams are just cooked. They might have the defensive rookie of the year, but other than that, there's not a lot going for the Rams right now. He's so good. He's a nice Aaron Donald replacement. Those are tough shoes to fill. It's tough when you're coming in and you're asked to fill the shoes of a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he's filled the shoes well, but he's done service for the expert for having to come in that spot. He's been pretty good.
He's on the right path.
I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's still been playing really well.
Come in and be
let him be his own guy.
Not everyone has to be a Hall of Famer. No. You can come in and you can be good. You can be really good, and that's perfect.
Hell, some of our favorite players, you go back and think, who are the players that you loved watching growing up? How many of them are Hall of Famers? There's a lot of names that you just.
How many of them will be? Tony Romo. I liked Romo back in the day. He's not making it. Dak probably won't make it. Des Bryant. Jason Witten will probably make it. DeMarco Murray. Zeke probably won't make it.
It's some of those key contributors or guys that just have solid careers that you just grow to love.
You think of the primes for those players too. Maybe not Tony Romo and stuff, but Dez in his prime was crazy. The level that Hall of Fame players play at is insane. And
because it's not just
lose sight.
You have to play that for so long.
Not a season or 2 seasons or even 3 seasons. It's 5, 6, 7, 8 or more seasons of just dominance.
And even then, there's people that still argue, did they really have a Hall of Fame career?
Yeah. Well, then it comes down to championships and all this other stuff.
Yeah, accolades. And,
anyways.
Yeah, that we really
both these teams are dookie.
Yeah. I don't trust either.
I should have kept my Dolphins pick. I had the Dolphins pick going into
I thought about changing
Monday. And at lunch, I switched to the Rams.
I thought about changing it. Ultimately didn't. I don't think I did. I don't remember. All I know is I'm number 1. And that's what we're going to. And that's where we're going to end this episode on a high note for myself. Thanks everyone for watching, for tuning in tonight. Here with us at Party Chat Sports. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, all at Party Chat Sports. We'll keep you up to date with everything going on. That was our Week 10 recap. Make sure you tune in next week for Week 11. We've got an interesting slate starting tonight with the Commanders and the Eagles for first place in the NFC East.
This is a good week. This is a good week for matchups.
Seahawks, 49ers, Ravens, Steelers, Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Chargers. We've got some of the games that we've had the last couple weeks have not been that great. We've got some good games on the way next week, so make sure you tune in to Party Chat Sports. Until next time, hope you do have a good week. Enjoy that slate of football because we only get so many of these more left. Until next time, peace.